Hey, I'm Erica Leonis. I'm the Media Relations Liaison for Hellscream Entertainment and Haunted Minds. And we're also getting a new adventure going, Scorched Earth Haunted Farm. So with that, I did want to bring in someone who is an amazing part of this media team. He really does a lot to really make all of our monsters and our actors look good. So for this monster checkup, it's less of a monster and more of someone who helps all of our monsters really be who they need to be. So, Adam, welcome. Welcome to Monster Checkup. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background and how you really got started with helping with photography and videography and stuff like that.
Well, I started at the Haunted Minds about 2014, and I started off as a security guard. And then I ended up moving up to a safety person, which just kind of, dealt with the structural design and stuff of the haunted houses. And then, ended up coming over to Hellscream Entertainment been 3 years now. We're going on year 3.
Cool.
And started doing all of their promotional photography, me and one other person. And started doing their commercials and videos. And, I've been doing commercials and videos and photography. I've made 3 feature films already.
Dang.
And some music videos and stuff like that through Armageddon Productions, and then my own company, which is Valkyrie 9 Productions. And, it's just a blast to have everyone dress up, and I can go wild taking photos because it's the perfect setup.
Most of the pictures that you see on, sorry, I have cats. Again, they're very loud, very noisy, and I can't control them. But like a lot of the pictures that you see on Hellscream and Haunted Minds Facebook pages and on our Instagram, Adam takes those images. And we also use some from our other actors and our other talent too, but Adam takes a good chunk of those, and he does a lot for us. He also has helped us with more recent promotional videos.
Roses are red. Blood's crimson too. You're missing us already. I have a spell for you.
But when you are taking photos and you are doing video of the actors and stuff, kind of what do you look for, and how do you stage that sort of thing?
Well, honestly, I don't go into knowing what I'm looking for photos. Because, for a lot of people who don't know, for the first 2 years, all the promotional photos I took off my iPhone 8. Yeah. And it wasn't until later that I started using a actual camera. When I go in, I pretend that I'm about to film something because I'm technically a cinematographer more than I am a photographer. And so I go and try and find, a picturesque setup with whatever monster I'm dealing with at that moment, and then I go and I take the photos. But usually I'm a photographer that likes to do bright colors and super vibrant, and make sure that there's a aesthetically pleasing background that can be forced out.
And when you say forced out, that comes down to when it comes to editing, correct? Like that's a
No, the forced out is more when I'm doing the picture. I mean, I do sometimes, but usually that's when I am taking the photos, having the person and subject and kind of having like a step-by-step fade out of the background, but you can still kind of tell what the background is. Does that make sense?
Yes. I've seen it in some of your other pictures before, and they're outstanding, first of all. And so I really do appreciate you taking photos. Makes my job very easy for posting things, being like, look at us, look how amazing we are, because you make us look good.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest projects that me and you did was the Christmas promotional video.
I didn't get too far before Block signed out. Experiment 145 laughed to herself.
That was probably one of the coolest things I ever got to do.
That makes me happy. Because that was an intense project, that one.
Yeah.
I'll link it in the description below if you guys want to go see it, but it's intense. Adam had these amazing ideas for shots that just worked so beautifully in the edit. Oh gosh. So like, when you go into a shot or when you go into the haunt, because I know it's crazy at the beginning of the night, and you have to take all your photos right before we open.
Yeah.
Do you ever go in with like a plan for who specifically you want to shoot, or people that you may have missed, or people that you know are going to end up having a character that night? Do you have ever have a plan like that?
For some of the characters, I do have a plan, depending on if they're a little outside their element, like if they're used to being a clown and they're something else. Usually I'll talk to them and skip them and stuff because, they want photos in a clown costume in the clown area. But usually, I call it shotgunning. I run through and I just start snapping. Like, I make a few adjustments here and there. I kind of get them to move around. But other than that, I got 5 minutes, and there's, on a busy night, there's anywhere from 30 to 60 actors. So it's
a lot.
Haul.
And that goes for
and then
both
at the end of the
haunt
night, I have 300 photos.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, I switch the nights usually going through. Some nights I do both haunts. But on one haunt, Haunted Minds or either Hellscream, I end up with about 300 photos. And then it takes me the next 2 days to sift through and do some editing and sending them to you and to other people to, post them how you guys want them to be posted. And it's pretty cool now.
It's very cool. Oh gosh. Editing doesn't matter what format it is. Editing is always the moment of, because it's the most tedious. But
it's where you're going to fall asleep.
Yeah. But it's also the most interesting part, because then you really see things come together and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. But I do actually and so you don't usually take photos to begin the night, but I do wonder, what are some of the challenges of shooting outside versus shooting inside for you?
I prefer to shoot inside. The only reason why I prefer to shoot inside is I can control the inside. I can control the light if I need light. I can control most of the surroundings in the background if I need to. If people who go to Valkyrie 9, I've done a ton of outside photos and stuff like that. And it becomes more of a pain if it's super bright out, or if it's foggy, or, it's the weather's not right, or, the background's not right. At the Haunted Minds and Hellscream, I've gone through it so many times. I know where all the sweet spots are.
Yeah. That's such an asset to have. Really, it really is. And so right now, everything is closed down and not really anyone is doing anything. Kind of switching gears. What kind of are you doing right now? I know you've done a little bit of photography in the off season. What are you doing right now, really, to keep yourself busy, especially with so much being shut down right now?
So right now, I'm in the mix of doing, once we get freed up, to do a couple more photo shoots with smoke, because people love to do the smoke photography with me. And then I also have a fan film coming out that I can't really speak of, but it will be shown pretty soon on Valkyrie 9. And then we're in the midst of gearing up for starting a new movie for Valkyrie 9 Armageddon this summer. We're going to start filming it this summer. So
that's so exciting. Congrats, first of all. That's awesome.
Thanks.
And I can't wait to see whatever comes out on Valkyrie 9 Productions, which I will also link down to his, do Instagram or Facebook? Would you do both?
Yeah, both is fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll link down below to those too, because that's always, if people have their own things and their own pages and stuff, it's always good to promote our friends, because you guys really help make Hellscream and Haunted Minds what it is. That's exciting. That's really exciting. And with the smoke photography and stuff, that's easy for social distancing. I just want to point that out there.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah.
Yep. Because I don't have to get anywhere near someone. I just use the lens.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned earlier how you don't want to mess with the lighting on the outside, or you can control the lighting on the inside. Have you ever had a moment where you're going through the haunt in complete darkness? How do you avoid just tripping on things? in doing that sort of stuff?
Oh, I've tripped on plenty of things, and I've ran into walls and stuff. There's a couple of places in the haunt that if the power's not turned on, I'm trying to use a flashlight, or I'm usually running into stuff. But usually if the haunt power is on, I can usually get around pretty easy. The big problem is that I'll run through the haunt and the actors still scare me. So I'll come around the corner real fast and they're just waiting for me.
Okay, so talk about one time that someone scared you.
It's unsettling. So I'm gonna say one times that scared me is because I never seen him before. I never seen him in costume before, and I came around the corner. It was Vince, and he was in his whole huge getup that he looked like something from Resident Evil. And I came around the corner, and he was just standing there, and I thought it was a new prop. And then he started moving towards me, and it pretty much scared the lights out of me.
That's amazing. For those of you who don't know, Vince Stites is our owner, so that's outstanding. He'll be so giddy to hear this. So
yeah, I got a picture of him. I got a picture of him afterwards, but yeah, it startled me big time.
But yeah, I've been scared quite a few times. These cats, man. I've been startled quite a few times myself by the actors, especially when I'm holding a camera. I'm like, don't do that. I have to like hold this still. I can't drop this, you know? Yeah, and gosh, and personally, you do shoot a lot. You also help with our escape rooms and shoot some of our escape room stuff too. Mm-hmm. Have you ever like captured a scare on camera that was like one of your just favorite, like, oh my God, this is amazing type scares?
Yeah, all the scares that I've captured on have been through the escape rooms.
All right, and so it begins.
Oh, that's
You may begin when the timer starts, not when the video starts.
Those are long, tedious filming because for the scare to come out. And when it comes to the escape rooms, you actually are the one that does my editing.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of them where, someone comes out and, there's 8 people all of a sudden backing up into a corner, tripping over each other. And it kind of looks like rocks tumbling and what's happening. And the camera there, I'll get distracted and the camera will start moving because I'm looking somewhere else. And yeah, it turns into quite a party at that point.
It's definitely interesting to shoot, and there have been some really outstanding scares you've gotten through the escape rooms that just bring my heart joy to see, as evil as that sounds.
It's all right.
I do.
What we do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, also, you talked a little bit about your background. Like, how did you get overall into photography, into this sort of thing? Because you mentioned that you've worked on a lot of like different big projects. How did you get into all of this?
So I got out of active duty, and I had a friend. And of course, I just shoot indie movies, nothing Hollywood size. But when he came in, he was working on a film, an indie film, and they needed a military liaison, someone to and stuff like that. So I went on the set, and this was 4 films ago. It was a movie called Jurassic Dead or Z-Rex, depending on which. And one day I just ended up picking up one of the extra cameras, cinematography cameras, and I just started filming stuff. And ever since then, I've been working with the same head director in the last, 3 or 4 movies. And ever since then, I just haven't been able to put a camera down. It's been working either as a producer or unit director. And then this next movie, I'll be one of the lead directors in this upcoming film, which was pretty exciting because it's the moment I've been waiting for to become a head director.
Oh, that's outstanding. Oh, that's so exciting. And that's really interesting background, like just like getting into it like almost as not only as a fluke, but just like by happenstance. That's fantastic.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's a weird world of making movies, but it's all it's all fun because, you know, when you do a couple movies and stuff like that, you can go and do commercials, which I prefer commercials because they're nice, sweet, and you can make them as artistic as you want or as little as you want, you know. And music videos are a little more harder to do, trying to sync everything up and get the right mood going and stuff like that. But I definitely prefer commercials, especially scary stuff. I've always wanted to do a scary movie. We're not going to do it this time, but that's why I enjoy doing the commercials for you guys. It's because we can make it super scary or, you know, nonchalant, super sweet and, you know, simple.
On that note, I'm not going to talk too much about it because, you know, hush hush, but there's something else that we're probably going to ask your help on here in a bit. So I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
So that'll be fun. Gosh. Yeah, like horror is a whole other world, I think, when it comes to shooting and doing, because it's a lot of different, it's a lot different pacing, I think, than most media.
Yeah, it's true.
So, like,
Because,
how do you differentiate how you're shooting for different things?
well, horror is definitely much easier to film. And the reason is because if you get that ambience in the room, it's going to come scary on film.
Yeah.
Unlike a romantic or a comedy, you know, where it may sound romantic on a script, it doesn't come off romantic in film. And the same thing with comedy. It sounds funny on paper, but as soon as a person delivers it, it's not really funny. It's kind of cheesy. Horror is the only one where you set up a scarifying scene and you film it correctly. It's going to be scared, you know, or scared. It's going to be scary.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can agree with that because, and we're really lucky to have the haunted house as where we can shoot all of this stuff because they have amazing backdrops and amazing props and everything. So I think in a way that we have it very easy in that sense, but it's definitely different than comedy for sure, and like romance because that's a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
Gosh. First of all, I love working with you. You're a fantastic person to work with. Like, it's just easy to talk to you and have a communication just happen because we both know kind of what we're talking about. And I really appreciate that from you. So.
Hey, and I love your editing work. So.
Thanks. I appreciate that so much. So, and you've been through both haunted houses before. Obviously many times. When it comes to like, and I don't know if you ever shot like with a group going through it all, because I know I do a lot of that. I don't know if you do a whole lot of that at all. But like when it comes to going through a haunted house, like, is there anything that ever that like just like surprises you, like you didn't expect that to kind of happen, and then kind of like inspires you to do something else? That was a really long-winded way to ask that question.
Yeah, I haven't done any walkthroughs with people in the haunt just because of the type of camera that I have. It would be extremely hard to manual focus the whole trip through a haunt. And because my lens is so sensitive, every light change in it, you know, I have to change all the settings on it. So usually I stick with, you know, one general area and I can maneuver most of the stuff by hand as I go. But usually the stuff that surprises me is everything after the fact. It's when like me and you sit down and like I could do the same example, the Christmas one.
Yeah.
You know, I've been through the haunt many times and you brought me this idea and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I got some great ideas we can do. You know, its eyes turning black and you know the way that, you know, Krampus, you know, starts walking and the certain areas that he comes through, you know, all that stuff is, you know, I had it pre-planned, but like 25% of it is, holy crap, we're in the right place, let's film this because it's a great idea.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it stuns me how often you like can see a thing and you're like, oh, we need to do this right here. And then like, I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? And then you explain it a little bit. I'm like, oh, you're right. That's an amazing freaking idea. Cause I guess it's like the eye you have when it comes to shooting things. Like, cause I can pull ideas out of my all day long, but it's hard to make them come to life, and you make them come to life. And it's really, I appreciate that so much, because I'm very amateur in my photography and my videography work. So thank you. So I have like so many questions written down, so I'm like, I know I'm going to forget these questions. I'm human. Oh, okay, yeah. So you kind of covered it a little bit earlier, but like, what are your favorite things to shoot? Like, what do you go for specifically to shoot if you have the choice?
Usually, if I have the choice, it's any character with vibrant makeup or highly saturated makeup and almost like a neon room.
So kind of like, okay.
And the other one would be if I can turn a scary room almost, it's like dusty looking.
Yeah.
It's super fun to turn that into like an old film, almost like what do they call it? Like a sunset color, dusk, almost black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Those are super fun to film because they're really easy to edit. They're classic looking, and they still come out as a modern scary.
Yes, I know what you're talking about, and it makes my heart very happy. I know exactly what you're talking about. And what can actors do when they're working with you to make your job a little bit easier, or to help you get a really good image or video?
Well, for the image, the best thing for an actor to do is a bunch of them, they get super excited right before they get open. So they're super excited, they're in character. And even though I have a extremely low light lens where I can capture almost in dark, it helps if when I'm taking photos of them, they're still, like completely still as possible, because they're moving, kind of blurs the foreground in and stuff like that. So that's usually the best key for doing photos on a hunt, just because it's so dark. And if they're not in a strobe room where there's a bunch of strobe lights, because that screws up the contrast and everything so bad. For filming, filming's a little different, because I just go with, be who you're going to be, and I'm going to track you how I'm going to track you. If it's just kind of a non-script filming, just go in, have fun with it, and I'm going to work around you. You just do your thing. So if I'm filming actors, it's just best for them to be them and who they want to be, because it's easier to cut clips out of a film and mash them together than it is to try and restore a picture that might have some blur in it.
Yes, actually, I'm going to show some of your images as examples throughout this entire thing, if you're okay with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'm going to show the one image that you took of me where I was holding the snake and my hand just happened to be moving, because that's a perfect example of that right there.
Yeah. But and I run into weird things, kind of like the one where she's holding two fireballs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had to cover up part of the background. So I put fire in her hands to cover up a fire extinguisher that kind of threw off the background.
Yeah.
So, it's the little things like that you go in and you correct. But filming is kind of easier to use super software to fix the thing and clip out film that's not looking right than it is to, I only have 5 pictures of this person. I got to make one of them work, so.
Versus
trying to
60 frames a second or whatever.
Yeah, trying to pull out grain is just in a photo, and I have great software. It's still a nightmare to pull out grain in a good photo. I'll
absolutely agree with that. That is so, it's easy to put grain in. It's difficult to take grain out.
Yes.
Gosh. And like, so far, I'm going to ask this. I think it's a fantastic question. What has been your favorite image that you've taken so far, like through Hellscream and Haunted Minds?
Oh, there's a lot of them. Let's see. There's a couple of Sydney that I did that I just absolutely love. There's a couple of Childress that I did at Haunted Mines that I love, and I did a smoke photography of her too that just came out so cool.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and there's between the Valentine's Day and Christmas Day, I think like 90% of all of those just came out fantastic. Like, it's really hard because the ones that I post, which is kind of hard to describe why, you know, some people don't get some photos and stuff like that, but it's I choose the best ones that I can get out of it and post them, and I try and keep a mental note of people that like, it just didn't turn out, I got to come and re-get them. And usually I try and get all 200 and what is it, 260 actors total.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard number to crunch, but I usually try and get the best of everyone. There's one that and it's a white photo. What's her name? Maybe Aura? No. I would have to send them to you to show you which ones.
Yeah. But you were mentioning how it's difficult to get all the actors. And you cut out a little bit there, so I kind of want to touch on that again. Kind of tell me like how you prioritize things, or how hectic it can get, and why it's difficult to get everyone.
Difficult part is because of my time limit. My time limit is very short between opening. The reason why I don't do it more prior to opening is because there's usually meetings going on, so none of the hunt power is on. So I have that small window between every opening. And sometimes I'll run through, like the actors are in their spot or coming through, I get a picture of them. Unfortunately, if they're not there, I can't wait too long, so I got to keep on moving on. And if the photo doesn't turn out, because sometimes moving too fast, unfortunately, I got to try and get them on a separate that they don't want the photo to be in, because they prefer a different spot. So, but usually I try and get as many people as I can. But thankfully, we have the help of Deloris.
Yes.
It kind of fills in a bunch of the gaps, because she's mostly at Hellscream and I'm mostly at Haunted Mines. So, and she does great photography, and she does a bunch of her own different style. It's not even close to mine, but it's great photography. And it's cool to have two different looking photos come out of the same people. I'll do one of someone and she'll do the same thing. And you can tell that it's night and day difference between how we take photos.
It really is. And she's the other person who you mostly see on the Facebook pages as far as photography goes. And she's also outstanding. And having the ability to have these two completely different shooting types, these photography types, makes my life very easy, because then I'm like, look at this, and then look at this, and then it's never the same thing over and over and over again. It keeps things fresh, and I really appreciate both of you. So we're coming near the end of the time here, and I'm going to edit this a little bit, put some pictures in, and cut out any of the puppy. Cut out any of the bits that didn't come across audio wise. But like, do you have any like parting thoughts or anything like during this time frame, or for the actors, or for your other, I guess, coworkers through Hellscream and Haunted Mines?
Not so much. If people still want me to get photos of them, I'm still doing photos. It's safe social distancing. Like I said, you don't have to be near each other. I got smoke bombs if people want to do smoke. I'm hoping to. I've done a bunch of pre-planning for the upcoming 2 new commercials for this season that I have to get with you on. So that's pretty much been my time. So pretty much when we're free to be, let loose. It's going to be total games on, and it's going to be a complete collaboration with you, because we're going to have to get like 30 actors and do this in a week. And it's going to be
so much.
It's going to be a lot to catch up on, because I was planning on starting at the beginning of April. That's not happening. So, I have some special effects getting rendered through Armageddon that we're going to use for the upcoming commercials as well. And I have it all pre-planned. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Oh man, that's amazing. Oh, that's outstanding. Oh, that makes me so happy. Oh, that makes me so happy, and I'm so excited. So yeah, guys, keep tabs on our Facebook and our social media and YouTube and everywhere that these are going to be, because from the sounds of it, they're going to be pretty gosh darn epic. So.
Oh yeah, it's going to be cool.
So, Adam, thank you so very much for being part of this today.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I'm going to say goodbye, everyone. Have a wonderful day.